Oh, okay. So this is a Cheviot 837 wall-hung toilet with an interior mounted tank. You know, the flushing capacity water thing is inside the wall here. This video is about us trying to deal with a constantly running fill valve. The fill valve will not shut off. And so we're going to walk you through how we do it. Here we go. This is the panel. There's a lock nut that goes underneath here. That's already been taken out. Just screws out. So you just remove the panel just like that. When you get it out, you'll notice this blue line here. This is an air line. So this is an air switch that when you push it, it goes to a little accordion air thing, and that's what actually flushes the toilet. So you don't want this kinked. So don't let it dangle. Just hold it in your hand. Behind that is a plastic panel, and everything from here on in is plastic pretty much. And it's got these wing nuts, I guess you call them, butterfly nuts if you want. Hold that on, get those out. Because of that air line, of course, this support panel has to just be held in your hand. After that, there's another panel, and it's got two clips up above here. So you need to just release those if you can, one at a time. It's a bit fiddly to do with one hand, but it can be done. That just falls forward. Again, the air line for the flush switch is in the way, so you have to hold that in your hand. So I'll just get a flashlight here. This is the inside of the control panel, and actually what we're looking at is the top of the toilet tank. There's basically three things to think about in here. Over here, over there, that thing is the actual valve itself with the float at the bottom of it that manages water coming into the tank. This piece right here with that little square opening on top of it, that's the plunger with the plug at the bottom of the tank that allows water to be released out of the tank and into the bowl to flush the toilet. And you'll hear it flush in a minute when we take this assembly out. And over here up in the corner is the cutoff valve for water that comes into the tank, the water feed to the tank in general. So the first thing we're going to do is take out this this piece here. Just get it out of the way so that we can get rid of this air line. So to do that, it's a little hard to keep your eye on it at the same time as I do it, so I'll ask my trusty cameraman to hold that. You'll see in the front here, this bracket is just held on with these tabs slid into place. So you just slide it to one side so the tabs aren't in the way and lift it out, just like that. In the process of doing this, you're going to hear the toilet flush like this, because I have to move it aside to get this thing out. I have to, I can't remember exactly, oh yeah, here we go. When that comes out, then you're free and clear. You don't have the air line in the way anymore. You just take this and put it aside. So we'll carefully store that down there. So that sound you hear is water running into the tank now as it refills. Again, this is the plunger. Down at the bottom of this, there's a gasket that manages water coming into and out. And what we're really interested in is this assembly over here. So really what you should do is turn the water off before you remove this thing, otherwise you're likely to get water all over the place. So we'll do that up here. And you hear the sudden silence. There's now not water pouring into the tank, so that's shut off good. And it's the same kind of drill as we had over here. There's a tab with a slot, and you pull the whole works towards you and lift. And you move it out of the back wall. Takes a little bit of a jiggle, and out it comes. Now, it's not going to come all the way out because we still have over here the water feed connected to it, even though the water's turned off. If you needed to remove this unit completely to replace it, as opposed to cleaning it, like we're trying to do, you need to disconnect this line, but we're not going to do that right here. We're just going to leave it connected. Because when you pull this thing out, you can, by getting the float up, get access to the valve. So,
say, PJ,
what's
is
that?
there something special about this assembly?
No, it's worth mentioning that this whole thing here you know, this bracket, this is particular to this make of toilet, this Cheviot 837. But this assembly here that's attached to it is a Fluid Master Model 747 toilet float, you know, valve, feed valve assembly. You can buy them at Home Hardware. I don't know if they're still being made, but there will be a replacement for them. It is being made. In other words, it's not custom gear, and it shouldn't cost you $1 million. It's very easy to work with, basically. And I still hear water running, which is making me a little bit nervous. But basically, we don't need this light anymore. I would like for that sound of running water to cease before I go any further. I think it's probably draining out of a possibly flawed float. But anyway, this is very easy to get at the valve that you need to clean in order to stop dripping. This thing just turns a quarter turn. Probably disconnect it from this adjuster here. This adjuster here is a threaded screw, and it moves this float up and down. If you turn the adjuster clockwise, the result is that the float goes higher in the tank before it shuts the valve off. In other words, you get more water in the tank. If you turn it counterclockwise, like that, it moves down in the tank and you get less water in the tank. The water is shut off by the float. So to get at the valve to clean it, a quarter turn, lift it off, and that thing, this is it. This is the valve that manages everything. That tiny little pin goes up and down according to the float. It goes down like that, water runs in. When it's up like that, water shuts off. What you do is you remove this piece of plastic. I'm not going to do it in this video, but it's quite easy to just pull it out clean. Clean all these surfaces around in here so that there's nothing messing with the flow of water in here, and that for us fixed it. So then after that, it's pretty straightforward. It's all the opposite of taking it apart to put it back together again. Put the thing on, turn it a quarter turn, make sure and connect it back up to the float assembly. You try not to break as you do it, because that would be tragic for everyone if you did. You, without forcing it too much, stuff it back into its assigned place. You get your trusty flashlight and you make sure that you are fitting it in along the back wall like that, and then you make sure and slide it all the way over. There. It's all the way over. That's in place where it ought to be. And then the process of putting the rest of it back in, again, it's the opposite. Could you hold the light, please? I don't know if everybody's going to be able to see that too clearly. But it's the same thing. I have to lift that. I have to lift the flush assembly up. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Oh yeah. So down like that, in and over. Get the accordion thing underneath the plunger. Lift the plunger out of the way. You hear the water flush again. And lift that. And again, at the back, fit in the tabs where they go. Get everything down where it goes. Front and back. Move it over so it's locked. And it's done. So then, put the rest of it back in. Panel in. There, finally. That clips into place. Then the next piece, right back where it was. Hold it in place, put on the nuts. Oh. Yeah. And those on there. So then when you go to put this in, just make sure you try not to kink this air line. Just sort of feed it in kind of out of the way. And just like that, you're done. And the lock nut goes in under here. I won't bore you with the lock nut, but the lock nut goes under there. And that's